about Elon Musk against Mark Zuckerberg. The Musk vs the Zuck. Who wins? Let's talk about it. Before we do, my name is Rahul J. Chan. This is the Battle Camp. Thank you very much for joining me. If you're new to the channel, please do consider subscribing. Look, I always say at the start of every single video, please do consider subscribing. But I really mean it. I really want people to subscribe because I want the channel to grow, and also personally for my own ego. So please, if you haven't already, please subscribe. Now look, man, I think I was misleading a little bit at the start of this video because I said, who wins? Let's talk about it. Elon Musk against Zuckerberg. And if I'm totally honest with you, I don't really care. I don't care about this fight whatsoever. And the only reason I've sat down to talk about this fight is because of the reaction to this exchange that both of these billionaires had. Because that's what's interested me the most, if I'm honest, and that's why I'm sitting here talking about it. Because I don't even know how all of this has come about. I don't know when this discussion started. From what I understand, they exchanged tweets to say, yeah, I accept the fight, but I don't know where it stems from, right? Because my intrigue in all of this hasn't allowed me to do the research. Because like I said, I don't care. I don't care about these two men fighting each other. But as soon as this news broke, as soon as these tweets got exchanged, the reaction, that kind of, it kind of blew me away a little bit, right? Because let's start with Eddie Hearn, for example, right? Eddie Hearn was in America last week, and the usual outlets, Boxing Social and IFL, were asking Eddie Hearn about the fight, and his first thing was, oh, I'd love the opportunity to promote it, please let me promote it. And he was being a little bit tongue-in-cheek, but you know, if he had the opportunity to promote a fight between these two, he'd grab it with both hands, right? Dana White has been going crazy on social media twerking for this fight. He really wants it. He really wants to promote it. And as a promoter, I can understand why. I can understand why you'd want to promote it, because of just the attention that it would get for your promotion, the mainstream media coverage. I can understand why you'd want to be the guy that promoted a fight between two of the biggest influences in modern tech, who also happen to be billionaires, right? I can understand why you'd want to promote it. But let's be honest, it's a circus. It's a circus act. And the reaction to Dana White's reaction has also interested me, because Dana White famously said a few months back, when he was asked about Francis Ngannou wanting to box, that's not what we do here. That's not what we don't make gimmick fights. We don't make gimmick fights. We make real fights between real champions to determine real winners. Now, he probably didn't even use those words. I probably said it better than he did at the time. But that's the gist of the kind of point he was trying to make. Now, from Dana White's point of view, I can kind of tell you what his argument might be about why Zuckerberg against Musk isn't a gimmick, whereas Tyson Fury against Francis Ngannou is a gimmick, right? Because Francis Ngannou going to box Tyson Fury, in Dana White's opinion, I'm assuming he'd say, well, every time an MMA fighter goes and boxes, he gets his ass kicked. That's a gimmick fight. You're just doing that for the money. Whereas Elon Musk against Zuckerberg, there's a massive unknown there. Who can confidently say one or the other of them will win? Now, we can all agree that it will be a very low quality fight. But in terms of competitiveness between the two of them, you can't confidently put £100 down and say either of them will win. Whereas when it comes to Francis Ngannou against Tyson Fury, you probably can. You can put £100 down on Tyson Fury and be very confident that you're going to win some money back. But that's kind of where my understanding or alignment with Dana White ends. Because like I said, I don't mind if Dana White, Eddie Hearn, anybody wants to promote this fight. I get it. I understand. I totally get it. But what I don't get as a fan of the UFC, as a hardcore fan of MMA, where the UFC are the biggest, most prominent organization, is you've got a man who sat there in a t-shirt that he's had his team printed saying Zuckerberg vs Musk across the front of it, looking all giddy and happy as he's filming himself like an old man, posting it up on the internet. You can tell he holds his phone like this, posting it up on the internet and kind of going back and forth with fans about the fact, about whether or not this is a gimmick fight or not. Like, to me, this is a symbol of what I feel is the issue with the UFC currently. Because I'm a man that used to stay up for majority of the events that the UFC put on. And for me, that meant staying awake till 5, sometimes 6 o'clock in the morning. And I'm an old man. I'm in my mid-30s. So when I stay up on a Saturday night, Sunday morning till 5 or 6 in the morning, it completely ruins my Sunday. That Sunday is a write-off. But I used to do it for the love of the game. Me staying awake for UFC events has become more and more rare over the last year and a half or so. And the thing I put this down to is these Apex cards, these Fight Night cards. Because to me, I don't even care about events being in the Apex. I don't mind. Like during lockdown and all of that stuff, I enjoyed the experience that the Apex provided. Obviously, I prefer when there's a full arena and fans are going mad, like for Charles Oliveira in Canada a couple of weeks ago. But if the only way I get to watch two top-level fighters fight each other is in an empty arena, I'd rather have that, right? But the problem that I've got with these Apex cards is I haven't heard of 80% of these fighters. What we're seeing on a weekly basis is a card full of fighters that I haven't heard of. And we've got a main event that I'm thinking to myself, do I really want to stay up till 4 o'clock in the morning for this one fight? Cannonier against, have I forgotten his name? Vittori. Like, do you really want to be doing that? No, the answer is no. And you hear these people saying, oh, well, you know, who cares if you haven't heard of them? It's really, you know, actually Fight Night 22 was really entertaining. You should have watched it all. But as a promotion, it's your job to get my interest. I shouldn't have to sit around and do all of the research and find out about these fighters and their background for me to think, actually, yeah, I want to watch it. You're the promoter, promote. You're the ones that are supposed to be getting us to watch. I shouldn't be having to do the legwork myself. And that's the problem that I've got, because it just feels like this dictatorship where there's a leader who just does what he wants when he wants, who doesn't really have the feeling of the zeitgeist amongst the fan base, and he doesn't have people around him that can question him. He doesn't have people around him that can ask him, do you really think that's a good decision, Mr. Dana White? Do you know what I mean? And that brings me back to this fight. Like, he's sitting there twerking for this fight when the product that he's putting out on a weekly basis is so below par and substandard, and he's worried about he's here like, oh, Tyson Fury, why don't you come and fight John Jones in a real fight? Like, why don't you just put on some real good fights yourself? Like, you've got a big stable of fighters. It just feels like there's no impetus on actually, you know what, we really want to make this event good. We want to make it good and entertaining and exciting for the fans. It just feels like there's no hunger anymore. There's no hunger anymore because they've got these guaranteed streams of revenue that come in. They're making money. Fighters seem to be happy. There's no kind of like, there's no jeopardy anymore. There's no competition. There's no need for them to do something out of the box and pull something out. And you know what? Let's do it. Like, we get every 3 or 4 months now a card that really gets you excited and really gets you in the mood. And that to me is a big difference to what used to happen a few years ago. Like before COVID, even during COVID, things were more exciting. But yeah, it's just frustrating for me anyway, as a fan. It's just really, really, really frustrating. And I just wanted to share my thoughts about that. It just really grinded my gears that we got a man that is so excited to promote this fight when do your job and promote some actual fights between MMA fighters. Put together some cards that we really care about. Like, you know, these fight night cards, right? I wouldn't even mind if, like, they basically happen every week, right? But I wouldn't mind if, like, just say 1 in 3 were exciting and 2 of them were just like these below par substandard cards full of names that anyone's heard of. Do you know what I mean? So just get the main event and co-main event, share them with another main event and co-main event. Build like a strong enough card for me to care about, for us to care about, and then just put all of the no names together on a card and let them kind of fight amongst themselves, and whoever's good enough will shine and progress. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, I think that's it. I think I've said everything that I need to say. Feel free to put your comment. Look, I'll tell you what, one thing that I will say is this week I'm very interested to see what the likes of Ara Helwani, Luke Thomas, Brian Campbell, etc., have to say about all of this. I'm really interested to see how they react to it. And look, I know that there's a personal rift between Helwani and Dana White. And I know Brian Campbell and Luke Thomas, they don't have the strongest relationship with Dana White, right? So sometimes when they say things, I find myself not agreeing, or I find myself, okay, well, this is just your personal grievance against the man playing out in you expressing your opinion about this specific topic, subject, event, etc., right? But I still want to hear, I still want to see what they say. I still want to see what they say. So, in short, TLDR, I don't blame Dana White for wanting to promote this fight, but this is just a symbol of him taking his eye off the ball with the rest of the product, because what we're seeing at the moment in terms of these events, majority of these events that are being produced, it's just not good enough. As a fan, it's just not good enough, and I'm slowly losing interest in the sport. But anyway, thank you guys for watching. Please do share your own opinions below in the comments. Let me know what you thought about what I've said through the duration of this video. Subscribe if you haven't already. Share this with a friend, and I'll catch you next time, my friends.